Welcome to Women, Men, and Relationships. I'm JJ Flazanes.
And I am Doug Sandler. Is this microphone close enough to you, JJ Flizens?
Listen, Dantzler, it's close enough to me when I speak. It needs to be close when you speak.
We have a lot today, and including a lot of you and me. Guess what?
We have another guest. It's someone you know, you love. You've heard him many times. Welcome back.
My
Michael.
mother.
Your mother.
Oh, wait, no, not my mom.
No, not your mom. I said him. Is your mother really secretly a him? That's a whole nother set of issues that we need to talk about if your mother is a him. Okay, sidebar. Welcome back, Michael Neeley.
Thank you. It's so great to be back again, you two fools.
Yeah, we are. We really are. So last we left you, we were excited and talking about our drive up to Esalen to do the Imago workshop. And guess what?
What?
Holler.
We've done the Imago workshop.
Woohoo!
So we have actually literally just finished it several hours ago and haven't even discussed it at all yet with the Michael Neeley. And before getting into that conversation, we thought we should record this ridiculous conversation and share it with you. So first, before we get into how was the workshop, let's go back and since Michael did listen to the shows that I apparently misquoted him.
So misquoted
Okay,
me.
great. Then let's talk about that. So what is your response to the things I said on the drive back as well as last week?
Okay, so I think the big thing, the misquoted piece, was that I never said that we are supposed to be that way or that it was better to be that way. I simply said that, man, it is not in our nature to mate for life. That part is made up. Because, you know, there are certain species in the animal kingdom that we see. They mate for life. Man is not one of them.
But on what?
And I'm not saying right or wrong.
But
just
we're
saying,
talking on a biological only level, on an impulse, on an old brain or a reptilian brain level.
however you want to look at it, it's just that's never been in our makeup.
And I agree. I think I said that in the car. I agreed with Michael that I don't believe that human beings are made to mate for life. I think that is a societal norm that we have placed upon ourselves. And I'm not saying it's wrong that we place that societal norm upon ourselves, but I think from a desire to stray perspective, I think that is human nature. Michael?
Yeah, no, I agree with you. And I'm also of the ilk that it is fine and actually, I think, lovely to have one person to be your partner forever. I think that's beautiful, and it's certainly something to aspire to. I just don't think it's in our nature.
I haven't seen many ilks, but the last ilk I saw was fucking somebody else.
Oh, a lot big antlers too, huh?
Right, but that's the conversation of what we kind of went over this weekend, and what, if we define, we have evolved though. So we have evolved into a higher conscious brain than our caveman ancestors ever had.
And I think that as a part of that, we, through the evolutionary process and through this Imago therapy, and really through many other types of therapy, that the idea of being with anyone for life is totally possible and plausible if we just use the right tools in order to communicate effectively with them. What do you think about that, JJ?
Well, Michael looks like he wants to say something first.
Well, only that, backing up to what you just said, no matter how much we evolve, I don't think we will ever evolve to be, humankind mates for life. That, I don't think, is an evolutionary path.
No, I agree. I think that you're always going to have that, wow, that's a nice looking ass, or yeah, that's a good, that your idea is that you could mentally stray, but can you, in societal norms, can you stay together with the same person and mate for life? I think you should be able to, but the question is, can you?
Well, I definitely think you can, but I think it goes beyond that, even into choice. We have choice in the matter. And so you're assuming, is the way it came across to me, the way you stated it, JJ, that we can evolve towards that. Well, that would make the assumption that we would choose as a society that we choose to be together forever. And I don't think most of us would ever choose that. Many of us wouldn't.
But
even
many
choose
people
that.
do.
Many people do. but I'm also saying many people don't. And so to say that there's going to be, that we're someday going to evolve to where everybody chooses it, I think that's the same as saying we're all going to evolve to eventually everybody likes chocolate ice cream and no other flavor.
Right, but I'm talking about the difference between, and I think where the distinction is you're talking about biology, chemical biology, about maybe attraction. I don't know how we're defining someone's choosing, because one's a conscious decision, and the other thing is more of a physical chemical reaction.
Wait, are you going to? Can you deny your physiological need to? Are you denying that attraction? Because I think that aren't you always going to have that impulse, like, wow, that would be great to see what that is like on the other side of the septic tank, as Irma Bombeck would say. But are you always going to? Can you squash that, or would you even want to, or do you think that from an evolutionary perspective, we're ever going to be able to get away from that desire to stray? I think that it is our reasoning and our decision-making that allows us to stay in a relationship for life, rather than our evolution, which tells us, I think it's important for us to try to spread our seed wherever we go.
I think it even goes beyond that, though, a little bit, Doug, in that you've mentioned a couple times now about the straying factor, but I'm saying that even without the straying being a piece of it, you may be in relationship with someone and you may start out thinking, I want to be with this person forever. And then people change. We both change. In relationship, your partner may change and you go, whoa, I don't like the new you that you're becoming, and I'm also becoming something different, and so why would you stay?
Well, and Harville talks about that the entire weekend. He says that we, what is it called? The differences between you are actually what you are attracted to.
Your mate selection is actually quite psychological in an unconscious way, not a conscious way. Because out of the millions of people you could choose, your subconscious is projecting what it didn't get in childhood and finding someone similar to who you didn't get it from, thinking, oh, that person's going to give me what I didn't get. So it's not even, so I think, to take your point a little bit to a different direction, I think we're less conscious of what we think we're even choosing, because we're actually projecting out all the wounds that we need to be healed, and our subconscious is saying, and our inner child is saying, I want what I didn't get, and you are going to give it to me. There is, and I don't know if either one of you have experienced it, I have, in my relationship, where I know I felt the pressure or the ecstasy or the promise or the hope of, and like the intensity of, I will be whole now. I will be healed now. I will get what I've not had and what I've longed for. The intensity was so high in my relationship, and I absolutely did feel that. It wasn't pressure at the time. It became pressure later. It was because once there's pressure, to me, there's responsibility on both sides. And something Harville kept saying a lot over the weekend was, that we get into relations thinking that you and I are one, but I'm the one, right? You and I are one, but I'm the one. It's my way. And so I don't think that we're as conscious as you may think we are in actual mate selection. I think it's constantly seeking out what we didn't have in order to heal the wounds that we got in childhood.
I'm totally with you, and I agree with that. I do think we make those selections unconsciously. And what's to say then that if I subconsciously make this choice to be in a relationship with this person, and I do it because of some need that I have to be met, some growth, and then that growth is complete, and then I go, oh, but I've got these other needs, and she's not going to help challenge me there, I got to find another partner?
I don't think those needs are ever met. I think you're always growing, you're always evolving, you're always changing. The idea that you are going to remain static with that partner, I think that's never going to happen, because you're either both going to change, one person's going to change, one person's going to stay the same. It's impossible for you both to stay at that level, and you're just ignoring those traits that you don't like in the beginning, because there is so much of that love thing, that romance, that honeymoon thing that's going on in your head, that you're not seeing those things. That you're missing all of those signals. I mean, I'm not going to talk specifically about the traits or the things that may have gone right or wrong in that first or second or third marriage that you had.
Keep going.
But it's amazing, and we talked about this the last time that we did a show together. How many of those signals did you actually miss? And you think back and you're like, holy shit, why didn't I see that sign of, she just bought 50 cases of wine at on my second date. You know, for thinking, I mean, she is giving you psychological signals that says, you're going to be with me forever. You're not going anywhere, sucker. And oh, by the way, I need my green card. You know, it's like, so there's so many things that you missed that I missed in my relationships that JJ probably missed or thought that she could. Wait, I don't think you missed them. I think that you thought you could heal them or they could be healed. And that was the misconception, is that we think that our spouse, significant other, is going to do the work, and it's never about them. It's always about us doing the work.
Oh, I got into my marriage knowing and hoping and excited about the work ahead. This wasn't I found you, now I can relax. This was, I found you, oh shit, now the work begins.
Yeah, but didn't you, were you remiss in asking your spouse if they were willing to do the work, or did they say that they were going to do the work and then they said, and then shit, and it was like, well, this shouldn't be so hard?
Pretty much. What happened was there was a lack of feeling balanced. I think that because I move at a sort of faster speed than most, there was I can't keep up. I feel out of control. This doesn't feel good. I can't get my balance long enough to feel stable and secure. I'm going to put my foot down and the brake on and say, no, I'm not doing this anymore. But there was a time where we're on the journey together. But because I also didn't really start this work until I was in a long-term relationship, I couldn't really lay the path out properly. Like, I had ideas of we're going to grow together. There's going to be stuff we're going to work out. I did mention the Imago theory of we choose our partners to heal the wounds of our past. I talked about how, that we're reacting from each other from a place of when we're triggered. It's really not, you're not really reacting to me right now. You're reacting to a past hurt that you had that was put there that I didn't put there. However, so what I learned is,
hold on. Let me just say this, though. That's like going to college, getting into that class, and saying to that that sophomore that is about to take an exam, their first exam in their sophomore year, I have all of the answers, I have the key, and I'm willing to give it to you, and them saying to you, yeah, but no, I want to do it my way. I want to do it my way. I'd rather fail than know the answers. Oh, you're telling me you're going to give me the answers. So it's almost like there's a sense of mistrust that you actually have the answers, which was a part of his problem to begin with.
Okay, but after this weekend, what we learned and what was, sort of front and center for me, two concepts. One was the power struggle, okay? The power struggle that people do back and forth with each other, and that was definitely happening, and I didn't realize it. And I did realize it to a certain degree. I didn't label it a power struggle, and I didn't know how to get out of it. And I tried ways to get out of it, but the other thing was the symbiotic versus differentiation, right? And so one of the things now to link this to the weekend, some of the things that are really, really great about Imago, and I'll say off the bat, because we're going to do a lot of shows on this topic, because we want to bring some of this work to you guys, and we want to share the information, and we want you interested. We want you to know there are tools out there. There are things I did not agree with in terms of just belief systems, general belief systems. And we'll talk about that on a later date. So just know that I believe this is an awesome tool, but just like any tool, you can't build a house with a hammer. So it is really good for specific things. It is excellent and above and beyond any couples therapy out there. Imago is the place to go for several reasons versus regular traditional therapy, because you don't want to be having conversations about what the hell someone did in the bathroom or what they did last year. It has nothing to fucking do with anything in your relationship. It has all to do with the needs you did not get met in childhood that you have these wounds about, which make you triggered and get you into your reptilian brain that then react in a fight or flight kind of I'm going to life or death kind of threatening way. So the differentiation versus symbiotic, I think I'm going to have them talk about it on the show, because we will have Harville and Helen on the show. We'll be interviewing them on the 13th of February, so expect to hear it, see it, possibly, the next week. And of course we're drinking wine in case you hear Michael pouring it. Yep, there you go. There's the wine, and we're eating. And then we're eating a little chocolate, so in case you hear that in the background. So the symbiotic was we are one and I am the one. And the symbiotic is when you're having, it's the forgetting that you're living with another person who's a completely other person. Now, there are other modalities that I would, how I would teach that or present that. Like I would teach it astrologically. I would teach it masculine, feminine. I would teach it in a couple different ways to say the person you are with is different than you. They think differently than you. They act differently than you. They have different experiences than you.
And here's why. And here's why. I think part of it is that they just kind of left that out to the great universe to just, hey, listen, just you're different. But I would love to know. I'm always a why guy, so I wanted to know why. And I do know why because I live with you, but most people at that retreat did not know why.
Right, but the general belief or understanding or reminder was you live with another person who is not you. And so remember that. So what they've created in Imago are a lot of scripts on how to have dialogue about needs, about feelings, about reactions, about behavioral changes, about appreciations. There's a really, really good doubt-in process. And for a lot of people, they'd really rebel against the script. They'd think, I don't want to follow the script, but the script provides the safety that couples do not have to have these conversations. And it's not just the script to let it out and let the other person hold the space for you. It's the script to acknowledge and own why you feel that way and how it links back to what you didn't get in childhood. So there is a bit of ownership that I really appreciate because I really hate victim mentality. And while it's not about being a victim to your wounds, you're owning your wounds and you're acknowledging them, and then we're trying to figure out how to get them met through your help with your partner, as well as I'm going to say, which this is where I differentiate from Imago, is say that I do believe your wounds can be healed. And I do believe you can contribute to healing your own wounds without your partner. I believe you're going to get a greater depth of healing with your partner because as Imago states, you were wounded in relationship. You can be healed in relationship. So it's not, you are not an island on yourself. We are about relationships in our lives. So for that, there were interesting. I mean, I was there is in like 3 different ways. The first way that I was there was I was in the workshop and I was doing the work. The second way I was there was trying to analyze the workshop and how I thought about it, what I thought was good and bad. And then the third way, I was creating my own thing on the side. I was writing down how I would teach this, where it would fit in with my philosophies about this, that, and the other thing. I was writing a list of all my tools because I want to take and figure out how they all work together in a way that, I mean, literally I was actually thinking I need to make my own therapy because Harville made up Imago based on his own contrast with Helen and Helen's contrast with, they both were divorced and they both were wondering why can't we have good relationships? So this whole, and he has a background, of course, in psychology, and so did she. And they developed sort of Imago together, and it has grown, and it keeps growing. And he's 83, and he's really, they're very cute, and they keep developing, and they're passionate about making change in the world. But they're, he's 83, so and they're pretty left. He's pretty left-brained, so there are some things, even though he's got little pieces of things, but he's right at the tip of it. Like he talked about. Quantum physics, yet he didn't use quantum physics, right? Like he talked about quantum physics, but didn't get into frequency or vibration because it would have changed everything about our brain. We brought in a little spirituality, but not enough to because I think if you go any deeper, you have to change this whole paradigm to pull that in, right?
I was just going to say he hit everything from a very clinical perspective. And I think that the thing, especially today, that not that he missed, because I don't think there is any missing. I think that he just approached it from a very Western medicine perspective. I think that if he would have been able to offer a little bit more of I think what your community is into, what our community is into, a little bit more woo, a little bit more, give me some astrology to explain behaviors. Give me some law of attraction rationale to explain why things happen in relationships. Tell me, why am I attracting this type of relationship in my life, aside from I'm trying to heal the wounds? Don't just assume that I know why I'm attracting this person in my life. Explain it to me. When you can explain things to me from a rational perspective, maybe even using some of that woo, I get a lot more clarity into why I get involved in relationships, other than here's a script, use this script, aren't we wonderful? And I'm not saying that against the therapy. I'm just saying that it's this and not this only. This and this.
I'm wondering because this was a 2-day event?
It was
3?
Friday night, Saturday, and today. So
Okay.
it was 3
2.5.
days, but it was 2 full days.
Okay, got it. So I'm wondering if part of the reasoning behind that was that it seems like a short time to try to put a lot in. I've gone to different workshops and a couple stuff where it's week long, and so 2 days does seem kind of tight.
Well, so my client before we left said, "Are you guys going to go have a massage?" And I was like, "No, we're in a workshop." And he's like, "Oh, it's Esalen. You'll have time." I'm like, "No, we barely had time to eat and do homework." I mean, we only made it to the baths on Saturday in between the break and dinner because we were doing so much homework. I mean, this is really intensive doing. And I would have run it a little differently. I would have had people do one of the exercises before they even got into the room because it was really fascinating. So just another, conversation about, you've been to 2 of my events now. And what I really appreciate about you guys who are coming to my events is that you know who I am and you've listened to the show and you maybe have done a program or a product with me before or read a book. And so there's a trust that's built automatically from the get-go. Of course, my events are about a little bit more intimacy, a little bit more community building. Versus this was, so the room was full of 40 couples, so we're 80 people, and several of them had only taken the workshop because they wanted to go to Esalen, and they had to pick a workshop. So they never heard of Harville and Helen. They didn't know what work they were doing. Right. And now they didn't ask them that. We found that out by having dinner with people and talking to them. We didn't know at the beginning of the workshop, they asked how many people in the room. They wanted to find out who the veteran couple was. And I think they were married 40 years. So the oldest married couple or the longest married couple was 40 years. Doug and I were the newest. We were the babies, and we got a lot of praise for taking proactivity and being preventative in our relationship. But we took the prize for the newest relationship. But we weren't there because there was a problem or because we were there to, yes, preventative, but for also business reasons and because I've been studying Harville's work. And I thought, what a great opportunity. The man's 83. Don't know how much longer we have. So, I mean, hopefully a lot more, but never can be, sure. So the room was full of, there were some people going through some pretty big stuff. And unlike my event, we didn't circle it up. Unlike my event, we didn't talk to anybody else unless you were on a break and unless you made a very strong point to speak to somebody else, because all the exercises were about you and your partner. Right. And in fact, some of the people didn't even participate in some of the exercises. They were so not in a good space that when people noticed that, there were 3 other practitioners that came to help and support. So that way, when we did work, they could be pulled into helping and doing a little therapy with the people, like hands-on. But I saw one couple that, I mean, you just reading the body language, and I didn't study the room because I was, the annoying person in the front row, the A student doing all the homework.
Asking all the questions too, huh?
I was trying not to.
That was me. I was told not to ask any more questions.
And then he asked more questions. They're like, this is not a question time, and Doug asks a question.
When will the next question time be? Can I?
Yeah, if you tell him not to ask a question, that does not compute. He goes, "I have a question," right? But this is not. But I have a question. So I was trying not to study the room too much. Sorry, Doug's had a couple drinks. Are you okay, honey? I'm fine. Okay.
More wine.
So this one couple, you could just tell. I took one look at him, and the man was checked out. And the woman was pissed off. Like, she was just holding on to that anger. And actually, so that was Friday night. I watched them during Saturday. I didn't, I wasn't studying them because I was doing the work. I had too much going on. I couldn't actually pay attention to anybody else. But every time I looked up and they happened to be across the way, they just weren't connecting. And then by the end of the Saturday, she wasn't even in the room. And he was there by himself, and we did a really cool exercise that Doug and I decided to example for everybody. We'll tell you about that in a minute. Because Doug was like, I want to do that. And then today, I saw her this morning, and we never saw him again. So I just find it fascinating because the workshop was...
If he's missing, he's under the cabin. I think there's a shovel next to the cabin.
I wondered who we were going to meet. I wondered how many people were coming to actually get real work, in their relationship. I mean, I think everybody was, but then there were people that didn't even know who they were. They stumbled upon the workshop and they were kind of not as connected versus me. I'm like ultra fan. I have 4 books. I want them all signed. I'm taking pictures. I'm the head of the, I'm.
And a waiting list of 80.
And a waiting list of 80, which thank you, Rita, for helping us to get in. A waiting list of 80 people.
Wow.
Yeah, so they could have done 2 of these, and they already had a room full of 80 people. So they could have filled the room more, but they didn't want to. So
it sounds like I should probably just find out the next time he's doing an event there. Just go there as some, like hang out in the tubs and stuff, and then see who I can meet. Because it sounds like it also wrecked a few relationships. Great place to meet ladies, huh?
What was also that was interesting? Did we ever check in? I know we checked into the hotel, but we just opened the door and we were allowed into the room. I mean, you probably could have gone and just not telling anybody to just go and hang out at Esalen, but
nobody
they
checked
don't
us
really
in.
check. Oh, that's right. They did check us in at the main gate to get in the door, but we could have got in. No, wait a minute. No, the back door. They don't check the back door. The back gate. They didn't check us there. Interesting.
there was someone at the back gate Saturday at some point, but just not when we came in on Friday or when we left today.
Okay. All right. So it might be a little uncomfortable if you don't have a place to sleep, even if you stay there. So you might want to do it the legit way. But I'm a little bit underhanded. I want to try to get in
Really?
free.
You're underhanded, Mr. I overpay my taxes? No,
That's
you're not
true.
overhanded.
That's true.
Underhanded.
Let's sneak back down there tonight and get in the hot tubs.
So you've been there before.
Oh, yeah.
And what have you done there?
Yoga stuff.
Yoga workshops.
Yoga workshop with Shiva Ray. I was there for that, and I was there for something else, and it's totally.
You just went for the naked baths. I know that, Michael.
Oh, totally, and you can. And by the way, they have passes for that, and I think some of it, you come after 10 p.m. at night, 1 to 3. There you go. See, so it's worth it.
So for those of you that don't know, Esalen is a nonprofit retreat center that is in Big Sur, California, on the ocean, on the cliff. Every place on the property pretty much has an ocean view. Our room did not from the room, but the house we were in, all you had to do was walk down the stairs and go out onto the porch, and we had an ocean view. But it was beautiful. You have no cell service. So if you want to go somewhere where you cannot reach out or be connected to the world, you don't have a choice there. They tell you that you could connect on Wi-Fi before at the dining hall, not during dinner time or any of the meal times, but they shut it off 15 minutes before mealtime, and on the Harville schedule, we had no time. So I never once could get online.
They have Wi-Fi in the naked bathhouse, but you can't put a cell phone anywhere unless you have a very small cell phone or a very large ass.
Okay, this is gonna go downhill from now, isn't it?
Totally great.
Okay, we're at 80 minutes in. So let's recap and not go too much further because we have so much content we are going to share over the course of the next month, I'm sure. What would you like to say, Doug Sandler?
Going back to the naked baths. I won't put you there though, JJ. It's fine.
What do you want to say about the naked baths?
I enjoyed that with you.
Right. So Doug, this was Doug's first naked bath in
First time
public.
ever seeing JJ naked?
Apparently.
No, his first time being naked with me in public.
Ah, there you go.
This was a positive experience for me. I never realized this.
Well, actually, this is a great topic. So let me answer this.
I am ready.
How
Michael
did you
now
feel?
Michael and JJ have access to the microphones.
Yeah,
JJ
we've
is
taken over the show.
Michael and Doug have access to the
So,
microphones.
Doug,
Sorry.
how did you feel knowing other men were, seeing JJ naked there at the tubs?
I was completely fine with it.
Totally cool with that.
Yeah, totally cool. When you are confident in your relationship, I don't think that it matters. It's like, hell yeah, she's mine. She's fucking gorgeous.
Check it out, brother.
Right,
Is
right.
she not hot? You were parading her around, huh?
So when we got in the tub, actually the guy next to us said, "Hey." He's like, "Hey," to both of us.
to
They
both
looked
of
at me like, "Hey."
Why do you think he said hey? I wasn't really sure why he said hey.
I don't know, maybe he was uncomfortable or he thought we might be uncomfortable. So just to break the ice of like, oh, we're all naked in a bathtub. Just, hey.
Did you notice there was a lot of naked people that went by? And you know what's really cool about it is that all shapes and sizes, all over the place. You do not need to feel self-conscious. And again, JJ, you might have to chime in with your feelings about this, but this is kind of why I just never feel comfortable being just in my birthday suit. It's because I feel like there's all shapes and sizes out there, and it's fine.
Wait, did you just say that you don't feel comfortable, or you
Uncomfortable? No, I'm not uncomfortable.
are not uncomfortable?
I had no.
You've never been uncomfortable in your birthday suit.
No, I mean, I wouldn't want to be the only naked one in a fully clothed party, but if somebody is going to say, hey, listen, this is a naked party, I'm like, okay. Well,
Your clothes are off as soon as they say that. No one else gets naked.
Awesome.
And the guy goes, whoa, I was just kidding, Doug.
I'm like, wait a minute. So no, I'm not. I just don't understand what is the difference. I think that Harville talks about this in his book. He talks about part of the reason that human beings have shame or have embarrassment is not because we're embarrassed not to be clothed, but we're told it's not right to be unclothed. So it's like, I don't know. And my mom was probably that way too, but I don't know. There was something that happened between my first marriage and the end of my second marriage. So in that 7 or 8 year period of time where I began to feel really comfortable no matter where I was with my body. Like, fuck. I mean, look at everybody else. Nobody is perfect. Nobody is perfect. That's why, I say this from a completely genuine perspective. I think you're beautiful. No matter what you think about you, I think that you're beautiful, no matter what your body looks like. So just for me, it was like, yeah. I was like, yeah, she's with me. Hell yeah, she's with me. She's confident enough to get naked and get, not because of any body type, but just because of your level of confidence to do it.
Okay, let's just paint the picture just slightly differently. This is not, first of all, in the middle of the day. It's dark out, and where everybody is getting undressed in the different...
Spotlight came on, and ladies and gentlemen, introducing JJ Flazane's Naked. No, it didn't happen that way.
Yeah, no, didn't happen. Didn't happen.
Oh, it didn't happen
Didn't
that
happen.
way.
However, I will say, it's funny because when I told my client that I had Friday morning before we left, we were just talking about stuff, and he said, be careful, don't drop your soap in the shower, because it's a co-ed shower. It's a co-ed naked shower. I think there's 6 or 8 different shower heads in there because you shower off before you get in the tub.
Yeah, there was a cute girl that was taking a shower right next to me. I was tempted to ask her just from
get your back. Can you get the spot I can't quite get?
I was tempted to say something, but I'm like, no, now is not the time to be a smart ass.
But I can't believe you guys only went. You could go any time of the day.
Okay, first of all, we didn't have the time.
Okay, so you didn't have the time, but I've been there during the day. Buck naked, sky, sun shining down on me.
I understand. And while I don't think at this point, this week particular, I would have necessarily been completely comfortable with that, I was quite comfortable going at night where there's just shadows of everybody. We were watching the sunset from the tub together where it was kind of dark.
That's not the moon. That's your ass.
All right, I've lost control of the show, and we are off the rails. So to conclude today's short show, and the battery died. So to conclude today's short show on our task cam with Doug and Michael, the battery did die, and we needed new batteries to record in the car for this past Tuesday's episode. I just wanted to come on and round out the show and say thank you for listening, and stay tuned to more of Women, Men, and Relationships and all the wonderful tools we're going to share with you from Imago Therapy, how we'd change it, how we'd continue it, and what we're going to do with it and with you. So hope you guys are having a great week, and we'll see you next week.